A reading from What the Dogs Know. The first chapter is available at www.alaughingdog.com. As Missy makes her delivery rounds in her barely functioning baby blue van, christened SSBB for Shitty Shitty Bang Bang, she makes a point of greeting the dogs she meets. Sometimes she greets the humans too. Sometimes she doesn't. It's a good bet she'll see a dog almost everywhere she goes. On Lucer Island, no place is off limits. The post office, the bookstore, the library. It isn't unusual to run into Jill in the Apple Cart grocery, standing in the baking goods aisle complaining to Fran and Nan about the shocking price of organic flour. You might not think Scottish Terriers would be interested in the cost of dry goods, but there they sit, exuding empathy. Missy is the exception to the general rule that the Lucer Islanders bring their dogs everywhere, and that's only because she has a whole pack, and the logistics would be challenging, to put it mildly. Missy and her dogs live in a ramshackle cabin in the woods on the west side of the island, where protocols for home maintenance and pet supervision are almost non-existent. Originally a one-room house that has been added to over the years in a haphazard fashion, and rarely if ever with a permit, it looks like the caricature of a house in a child's picture book. The roof contributes to the overall impression. The trees have grown too close to the house to allow for meaningful upkeep, and after decades of Pacific Northwest rain, there are so many layers of moss and ferns and even tufts of grass that it looks as though the whole odd structure is topped with a lumpy, multi-hued green quilt. Then there is the fence Missy built with her own two hands to contain her hairy horde. Rather than fighting the towering cedars and peeling madrones and sword ferns and flowering currant and juneberry and thimbleberry bushes to construct the traditional square-shaped yard, she simply built around them, planting a post wherever the bedrock gave way to a clear patch of soil that was not already inhabited by a tree or a bush. The result is a meandering, whimsical fence line that would have made Picasso proud. Frank and Kasumi's sprawling ranch borders Missy's place, and Kasumi is one of the few islanders who has actually been inside Missy's house. One day, after wandering over to say hello, Kasumi launched into the old nursery rhyme. There was a crooked man, and he walked a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence against a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a little crooked house. Missy just laughed her hoarse smoker's guffaw and said, "You got that about right, except I'm not a man, and no cat would come anywhere near my house. The dogs would eat it alive if it tried." That was before Kasumi was diagnosed with cancer. These days, Frank and Kasumi rarely leave the house, and when Missy has something to deliver to one or both of them, she feels as though she's delivering to a haunted house, inhabited by the ghosts of the people Frank and Kasumi used to be. Inside Missy's house, almost everywhere you look, you'll find a dog sitting or barking or scratching its fleas or licking its privates. The crew changes regularly since Missy is known as the person who will take in an unwanted dog until someone wants it. People in the village call her up or flag her down on her delivery route and ask if she'll take a new orphan. She never says no. Sometimes a stray shows up at her door, guided by unerring instinct to the last homely house on the island. Currently there is Buster, an ancient, Benji-ish mutt who trails after Missy, eyes misty with adoration and cataracts. Manly, a Great Dane whose former owners had vague thoughts of breeding, so they never had him neutered, and now his testicles hang pendulous, almost touching the ground. And Fetch, an overweight yellow Labrador who does indeed love fetching a ball more than anything else in the world, but who nonetheless seems incapable of maintaining a reasonable weight. Thyroid problems, Missy speculates when anyone comments on his sausage-like shape. There is also Brunhild, a gorgeous Afghan hound named after the famous Norse warrior queen who allegedly required would-be lovers to best her in battle. Brunhild the dog turns her mesmerizing eyes on the other dogs and then snarls and snaps if they get too close. Manly is forever trying to sidle up to her, having been taken in by her beguiling glances, and he has several scars to show for it. The other dogs have learned their lesson and don't even try anymore. They just gaze from afar and sigh. This is a small group, comparatively speaking, and Missy is already beginning to worry that somewhere there is another dog who needs a home. Every day when Missy walks in at the end of her rounds, the entire pack hurls itself ecstatically at her, scrambling over each other, even standing on each other's backs to get close to her face so she can be properly greeted. With that kind of enthusiasm, there is no question of taking the dogs with her on her delivery route. And that is part of the first chapter of What the Dogs Know, available at www.alaughingdog.com. Find out more at www.sharilane.com. Thanks for listening.